UFC Fight Night, Sterling versus Zalal. Quick picks, quick predictions. I would say this is UFC slop, UFC Vegas slop, the Apex slop, but it's not a bad card. It's genuinely not a bad card. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys all my quick picks, my quick predictions for this fight night. Before we go ahead and get into it, let me know in the comments down below who you guys are picking in the main event, and let's go ahead and get it started with the early prelim opener of Talita Alencar taking on Julia Pilastri in the early prelims. I'm going to go Julia Pilastri. I was going to go with Talita Alencar, but all she has is wrestling. All she has is grappling. And I know a lot of people are picking Talita Alencar. I get it. But I think Julia Pilastri is a decent fighter, genuinely. I don't think Talita Alencar will amount to anything in the UFC. I think she's kind of a bum in the strawweight division. You know, she's got good grappling. She's got a decent submission game, good jiu-jitsu. But Julia Pilastri is physical. She's bigger than Talita Alencar. Alencar is a very small strawweight. I know Julia Pilastri isn't like super physically imposing, but I think she's more physically imposing than Talita Alencar. I think she's going to be able to stuff most of the takedowns. You know, Julia Pilastri's lost to some good competition. Jasmine Jasdavicius. She also lost to Lupi Godinez. That's a good loss, you know, and she was doing really good in that fight in the third round. I thought she was piecing her up, walking forward like Terminator. So I'm going to go with Julia Pilastri. More physical, more manly, man. She's more physical. So I'm going to go with Julia Pilastri. You know, I get the people picking Talita Alencar. She's got the grappling. She's got the wrestling. But I think Julia Pilastri is going to stuff the takedowns, tire out Talita Alencar, and beat her up in the second and third round. I'm going to say 29-28. Julia Pilastri gets it done. We're also in Vegas. We're in the Apex. They don't care about the wrestling. So I'm going to go Julia Pilastri to get this one done by decision as the quick pick. We move on. Max Griffin taking on Victor Valenzuela. What a name. I'm going to go with Max Griffin. You know, Victor Valenzuela, very dangerous, big knockout power. He could slime out Max Griffin, don't get me wrong, but this just feels like a scrappy 29-28, Unk still got it matchup where Max Griffin's going to win this fight. You know, he went to a split decision with Chris Curtis. That has aged pretty well. You know, Chris Curtis is a good fighter. He was a ranked fighter at one point. So I think Max Griffin still got it. He is like 40 years old. Don't get me wrong. He could easily get slimed in the first, but I think if he doesn't get finished in the first round, I think he'll take over in this fight. Same thing as the Julia Pilastri fight. I think if Pilastri doesn't get taken down and just out-grappled, I think she'll win the second and third. I think Max Griffin will win the second and third round here. He's got better cardio. He's more well-rounded. He's defensively sound. His striking is pretty decent, especially for, you know, the age that he's at. So I'm going to go with Max Griffin to win this fight. Not very confident, but I'm going to go Max Griffin, the slight underdog by decision. I think Victor Valenzuela, very hittable. His defense is non-existent. He got slimed out on Dana White Contender Series. I don't know why he's here, but I'm going to go with Max Griffin by decision. 29-28 gets it done. We move on. Francis Marshall taking on Lucas Brennan. I actually did some tape study for this fight. I did, okay? Francis Marshall, you guys know, he's a good fighter. He's obviously lost to some good competition. He lost to the Frenchman. I forget his name. He also lost to Isaac Dolgarian before Dolgarian threw away his career and just decided to gamble on himself, bet against himself. And then Francis Marshall also lost to Myron Santos, which is a very good loss. And he didn't lose that fight. He won that fight. I genuinely had a slip on Myron Santos, and me and my boys were like, we lost that. And he somehow got robbed. So Francis Marshall should be 10-2, but he lost that fight by robbery decision. So, and then he bounced back and just destroyed Eric Silva in the first round. Lucas Brennan, jiu-jitsu nerd, BJJ nerd. You know, I think he's got the better submission game than Francis Marshall, but Marshall's no slouch on the ground. He just showed that in his last fight. Got the submission in the first round, made easy work of Eric Silva like he was supposed to. And I think he's going to win this fight by decision. Lucas Brennan's tough. You know, he's going to pull guard. He's going to be on his back. He's going to be trying to fluke a submission. But I think Francis Marshall's going to stay safe. He's going to out-grapple him and out-point him at range. You know, Francis Marshall is a pretty good not lightweight, he's a featherweight. Pretty good featherweight, well-rounded, and I think he's got a decent future in the UFC. So give me Francis Marshall, man. I don't like Lucas Brennan coming in here. This is also a short notice fight put together. I don't think Lucas Brennan is just going to fluke Francis Marshall. If he does, he'll have a good start to his career, but I think Francis Marshall will get this one done by decision. A lot of decisions to start off the card, but then we go to this fight. Jafel Filo taking on Cody Durden, man. I'm done picking Cody Durden. I went to UFC 326. I had Cody Durden. I was praying the boy would pull it off, but it's over. All right, it's over. Cody Durden's career is over. He's 17-10. He's on a 4-fight losing streak. Two of those by, I believe 2 or 3 of them by finish. He got subbed by Alan Nascimento, not a bad loss. He got knocked out by what's his name? I want to say the Puerto Rican guy, but he trains at Shoot the Box. Ochoa. He got knocked out by Ochoa, and he also got submitted by, who was the other guy he got submitted by? I forget now. He got submitted by two guys and he got knocked out by one, I'm pretty sure. But he just lost to Tumen Dembarel at UFC 326. You know, he did okay in that fight, but it's just, he's washed. He is. Cody Durden's washed. I hate to say it. We all love to ride on Cody Durden, but I gotta fade Cody Durden. I gotta go Jafel Filo, especially since this fight is on short notice. Even if this was a full camp, I'd still be picking Jafel Filo by destruction. Filo's good. He's very good. He just showed that in his last fight against Clayton Carpenter. Subbed him in the first or second round with that Kimura, nasty Kimura from bottom, flipped it around on top and finished with the Kimura in Brazil. That was a nasty finish at UFC Fight Night Rio. So I'm going to go Jafel Filo, round 1, round 2 rear naked choke. This should be light work for Jafel Filo. He's big, he's physical, his submission game is very good, and his striking is very solid. He's only lost to really good guys, Muhammad Makayev, Alan Nascimento. Those are really good losses. Everybody else he's ran through, everybody else he's submitted or just destroyed. So I'm going to go Jafel Filo by submission in round 1 or round 2. I'm sorry, Cody Durden, bro. It's over. All right, it's over. Hang up the gloves after this one. I'm going to go Jafel Filo by submission. We move on. Mayra Bueno Silva versus Michelle Montagu. Mayra Bueno Silva has a generational fall off. Genuinely a generational fall off. Loses in the title fight. She was about to get the bantamweight belt. Loses that fight and then has lost every single fight since. It's literally a Tony Ferguson downfall. It's absolutely insane. She used to be a good submission artist. She used to be gritty, be able to throw down in the pocket. But since then, she's just looked like a shell of herself. I'm going to go with Michelle Montagu. I'm not crazy confident in it, though, because Michelle is relatively untested, but she does train with very high-level competition. Kayla Harrison, all the girls at ATT. So she does have really good people surrounded around her. And I just don't know how much Mayra Bueno Silva still wants to win. You know, I think she's showing up for that paycheck. She's still probably getting paid, you know, high 5 figures, maybe 6 figures because she fought for the title. But I'm going to go Michelle Montagu, probably by decision. Maybe she finds a sub, but she's much bigger, much more physical. She's not going to have to worry on the ground because she's got really good jiu-jitsu, really good grappling. She is a grappler. So I'm going to go Michelle Montagu to win this fight. She's bigger, more physical, and I don't think she's going to get fluked by a submission over with Mayra Bueno Silva. So I'm going to go Michelle Montagu by decision, maybe a submission, but I'm going to go Montagu by decision. We move on. Oh man, Jackson McVeigh versus Cedricus Dumas. Neither of these guys should be in the UFC. Let's just be honest, all right? Cedricus Dumas, ex-convict, okay? Jackson McVeigh, I don't even know what to call him, ex-regional slayer, okay? He's a classic regional fighter slayer. That's what he did. He went 6-0 in the regional scene, slaying all these bums, okay? And then he gets a call up to the UFC, fights Bruno Ferreira on short notice and gets slimed out in the first round or gets subbed in the first round. And then he just fights Zach Reese on short notice and he gets subbed in the second round. So Jackson McVeigh, not a good start to his career, but Cedricus Dumas has had a shit career. This is shit versus poop. Or no, this is shit versus piss, genuinely. There's no other way to describe this matchup. Cedricus Dumas was in prison. Okay, he was in prison for a while. Somehow the UFC kept him on the roster. He was in jail. He literally has $2 to his name. There's nothing to say about Cedricus Dumas, man. Genuinely. Like, there's nothing to say about this dude. He's got no strong suits. He's not good at anything in particular, but he is more of a fighter than Jackson McVeigh. You know, we've seen Cedricus Dumas quit. He got knocked out by Oleg Zaychik. You know, he got knocked out by Nursultan Ruziboyev, I believe it was. Was it Ruziboyev? One of those long, lengthy guys he gets knocked out by. But I'm going to go with Cedricus Dumas. You know, I don't think Jackson McVeigh is good. I think he's a can crusher. He's a good first-round fighter, but I think Cedricus Dumas is going to survive that storm in the first round. And I think he's going to win a decision or a late TKO. You know, Cedricus Dumas, he can't be training at a gym. He's literally got $2 to his name, so genuinely zero confidence on this pick. But I'm going to go Cedricus Dumas by decision. I'll say by decision. I think Jackson McVeigh is pretty tough. I don't think Cedricus Dumas is going to sub him. So give me Dumas by decision. We move on. Rodolfo Vieira versus Eric McConaughey, the main prelim. It's an okay fight. And both these guys have similar records, 11-4, 10-4. Rodolfo Vieira, very well-renowned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, one of the best BJJ artists of all time, genuinely. But now he's in the UFC. He's been in the UFC for a minute. Hasn't been able to translate that success to the UFC. but he still has really good jiu-jitsu. His cardio is questionable. His striking is okay. And he's facing Eric McConaughey, who's kind of, late to the UFC, kind of a can crusher on the regional scene, got put in the UFC. I believe he got slimed down in his first fight by Nursultan Ruziboyev. Maybe that's what I'm thinking about with the Ruziboyev knockout. Maybe it wasn't Dumas. It was McConaughey. Got slimed down in the first round. That's not a bad loss. I think then he beat Cody Brundage, bro. He beat Cody Brundage by split decision. I thought he lost that fight. And then he just got beat by, what's his name? The prospect, Susurkayev, in the third round by knockout. He was doing okay in that fight, too. So I don't think this is going to be a manhandling from Rodolfo Vieira, but I do think Vieira is going to play this fight exactly how he played his Trishan Gore fight. I think it's going to be the exact same thing. So give me Rodolfo Vieira by decision. I'm slipping up on my words. Give me Vieira by decision. Maybe a submission, but I think McConaughey's got good enough takedown defense to hold up. I just think he's going to be struggling to take just to stop the takedowns, and then that's going to let Rodolfo Vieira get his hands off and win this one on the judges' scorecard. So give me Vieira by decision. We move on to the main card opener, Marcus Buchecha versus Ryan Spann. Another BJJ artist, another very well-renowned BJJ artist in Marcus Buchecha facing Ryan Spann in the heavyweight division. I think this is a terrible matchup for Marcus Buchecha, genuinely. Ryan Spann's chin is made of glass, but Marcus Buchecha's got no striking. He's got no power. He's genuinely a BJJ nerd at heavyweight, and that just doesn't slide unless you're Walter Walker. All right? It just doesn't slide unless you're Walter Walker, and Marcus Buchecha is not Walter Walker. He's a big, plotty heavyweight who is slow, who's got slow takedowns, terrible striking, terrible cardio. I think Ryan Spann wins this fight 9 out of 10 times. Genuinely, the only way that Marcus Buchecha wins this fight is by getting him down and subbing him in round 1 in the first 2 minutes. I don't think there's another path to victory for Marcus Buchecha. I'm going to go with Ryan Spann to win this fight. Ryan Spann has always been a chin or get chinned guy, or guillotine or get guillotined guy. He's been finished multiple times, but it's against good competition. Waldo Cortez Acosta, Nikita Krylov, these are good opponents, you know what I mean? And he was at light heavyweight. He's moved up to heavyweight. His chin's a bit better, and he can beat these blobs at heavyweight. I do believe that Marcus Buchecha is a blob, even though he's got these crazy records of being one of the best BJJ artists of all time. He's still a blob, okay? If he can't get it to the mat, and even when he does get it to the mat, he's still clueless in MMA. He was able to get Kennedy Nzechukwu to the mat multiple times and couldn't do anything with it. And when he was on top in full mount, he barely rained down ground and pound. He just doesn't have the MMA skills to be able to beat a guy like Ryan Spann, who's got big power, who's way bigger than Marcus Buchecha, way more physical, and has a nasty guillotine. I'm actually going to go with Ryan Spann by round 2 knockout or round 2 submission. I think he could pull off the guillotine. I think he could ground and pound Marcus Buchecha when Buchecha gets tired after round 1. I think this is going to be a Ryan Spann round 2 or round 3 destruction. I think he should win this fight probably 9 out of 10 times, genuinely. I think Marcus Buchecha's only chance is round 1 sub or bust. So I'm going to go Ryan Spann by round 2 finish. I think he gets it done over Marcus Buchecha, who's just a BJJ nerd at heavyweight, which is crazy. We move on. Raoni Barcelos versus Montel Jackson. This is a good fight, man. Montel Jackson ranked number 14. Raoni Barcelos on a 4-fight win streak at 38 years old in the bantamweight division. Very impressive. Just beat Ricky Simone. Before that, he beat, was it Peyton Talbot right before that? Or no, it was somebody else before that. It was Cody Garbrandt. He beat Cody Garbrandt. Then before that, he beat Peyton Talbot, shut down the Peyton Talbot hype train as like a plus 1,000 underdog, which was insane. So Raoni Barcelos has been on a generational run, genuinely, since being slimed out by Umar, generational run. And I think he's going to beat Montel Jackson. Jackson's got that one-punch knockout power, but just because he knocked out Damon Jackson, it's Damon Blackshear. Because he knocked out Damon Blackshear, it doesn't mean anything, really. Montel Jackson takes way too much time to set up that right hand, to wait for that right hand to connect. And I was tempted to pick Montel Jackson by knockout, but I think Raoni Barcelos is going to be too crafty for him. I think he's going to be more volume. He's going to be throwing more volume. He's going to be moving a lot more. He's going to be threatening takedowns. He's going to be throwing the hands. As Montel Jackson tries to defend the takedowns, he'll be able to go upstairs, go for shots upstairs, and then go for takedowns. He'll just be able to mix it up way better. I think Raoni Barcelos, his IQ is better. I think his fighting style is better. I think his head movements got a lot better. So I'm going to go with Raoni Barcelos by decision over Montel Jackson here. I wouldn't be surprised if Montel Jackson flukes him with a straight right down the pipe, chins Raoni Barcelos brutally. I thought about picking that, but I think there's just a way higher likelihood that Raoni Barcelos just out-grapples and outstrikes Montel Jackson while Jackson is just searching for that one shot. That fight against Figgy was absolutely downright horrendous. So I'm going to go with Raoni Barcelos. I think he's going to out-grapple Jackson, who struggled with grapplers, and I think he's going to outstrike him as well. I think Jackson's going to sting him at one point, but I think Barcelos' chin is decent enough to beat Montel Jackson. So give me Raoni Barcelos by decision in this fight. We move on. Davy Grant versus Adrian Luna Martinelli. This is a banger fight. This is genuinely a great fight. All right, I'm very excited about this fight. And I was tempted to pick Luna Martinelli, but I gotta go with my boy Davy Grant. I gotta go with Davy Grant here. I picked Charles Jourdain to absolutely destroy him, and that pick ended up being true. But Davy Grant is a guy who is gonna beat the majority of people who aren't ready for this level. And Davy Grant is right outside the top 15. This guy is the top of the top of the unranked division, genuinely the top of the unranked bantamweights. And I think Davy Grant is going to outstrike Adrian Luna Martinelli, who is a decent striker, had a great fight on Dana White Contender Series, but he's very hittable. If he can't get his grappling going, he can't really do much. And his chin is solid, so I don't think Davy Grant's going to chin him, but I do think Davy Grant's going to connect a lot of right and left hooks, because Davy Grant's got a really nasty left-right hook. Obviously, Charles Jourdain was able to come up the middle, hit him with that flying knee, but I don't see Adrian Luna Martinelli being explosive like that, being able to catch Davy Grant with something. I think Martinelli's best chance is get him to the mat, sub him, because that is where we've seen Davy Grant struggle. He's been subbed a lot of times in his career, but I think Davy Grant's going to win this fight by decision. I'm going to go Davy Grant. Outstrikes, outpoints Adrian Luna Martinelli. Maybe Martinelli grapples for a round, does well in the first round, but then Davy Grant makes that comeback like he did against Damon Blackshear, like he's done against a lot of very high-level bantamweights. He's gone to so many close split decisions. I think he's going to win this fight. Give me Davy Grant by decision via points, via outstriking Adrian Luna Martinelli. Crazy name. I'm going to move on, though. Rafa Garcia, Alexander Hernandez. I'm staying way too long in these fights. I'm going to go with Alexander Hernandez. I was thinking about Rafa Garcia, but Hernandez has been on a generational streak, genuinely 4-fight win streak, same as Raoni Barcelos. He just made a great comeback, and he's been knocking back. He's knocked out guys back to back. Chase Hooper, really nice knockout, and then he just knocked out Diego Ferreira, really, really good knockout, and a nasty knockout too. So I'm gonna go with Alexander Hernandez, the Great Ape, or whatever his name is, the El Chongo, or something like that. I'm gonna go with Hernandez to win this fight, and I think he's gonna win this fight by knockout. Rafa Garcia is one of these jobbers at lightweight. He had a nice win over Jared Gordon in his last fight. Before that, I think he beat like a 40-year-old guy, who just isn't in the UFC anymore. But I'm going to go Alexander Hernandez. He's fought better competition. He's been knocking guys out. He's been looking really good. And with his new training camp, with his new team, they've got a perfect game plan. I love the way that Alexander Hernandez fights. He circles, he never stops moving. He pulls you into that right hand, and then he connects. So I'm going to go with Alexander Hernandez, round 2 or round 3 knockout as the quick pick. We move on to the co-main event. Norma Dumont versus Jocelyn Edwards. I'm going to keep this short. I think Jocelyn Edwards is a very good contender at bantamweight, but I'm going to go with Norma Dumont, man. I'm going to go with Norma Dumont because she's just a bit better at everything that Jocelyn Edwards does. Edwards is a great finisher. We just saw it in her last fight and her 3 fights before that. She's probably got the longest women's finishing streak at the moment, and it's very impressive, but I don't think she's going to finish Norma Dumont. I think Dumont's too durable. Her striking is better than Jocelyn Edwards, and she can stuff the takedowns of Edwards. So I'm going to go Norma Dumont. She's very big, very physical, and I think she's going to outpoint and outstrike Jocelyn Edwards like she does against every opponent. I'm going to go Norma Dumont by decision as the quick pick. But Jocelyn Edwards could make this close. I think this will be a close fight, close 29-28. Maybe even a split decision like Norma Dumont's last fight against Ketlin Vieira, who a lot of people thought beat her. I thought Norma won the fight, but I'm going to go Norma by decision, maybe a split decision. I think she'll get it done on the judges' scorecards. We move on to the main event. Aljamain Sterling taking on Youssef Zalal. I see way too many people taking Youssef Zalal as like a lock. Oh my God, Youssef Zalal is going to dominate Aljamain. Dude, what are you seeing that I'm not? You know what I mean? I think Aljamain Sterling should win this fight. I think he should win this fight because Youssef Zalal does everything Aljamain Sterling does, but at a worse clip. He does it at a worse clip. He's worse than Aljamain Sterling in every aspect. The wrestling, the submission game. You know, maybe he's a better striker, and maybe he's better at running laps. But Youssef Zalal, even though he's had a great comeback to the UFC, he's on a 5-fight win streak. He just beat Josh Emmett. Great. I'm not going to say great win. I mean, it was round 1, armbar. It's impressive, but it's Josh Emmett, okay? It's Josh Emmett. And Aljamain Sterling, people pretend like this guy's washed. He went to a close decision with Movsar that he could have arguably won if he had a bit better IQ. And, you know, he didn't give up that takedown at the end of the third round. He could have won that fight. And then he beat Brian Ortega, which is a decent win. You know, he's been beating everybody besides Sean O'Malley and Movsar. Youssef Zalal is not on the level of Movsar or Sean O'Malley. It's just not even close. All right, not even close. So I'm going to go with Aljamain Sterling to win this fight. And I think he's going to win this fight by decision, maybe a submission. You know, he does call himself the human backpack. I think he's going to backpack Youssef Zalal for a lot of this fight. Third, fourth, fifth, I could see him just backpacking the shit out of Youssef Zalal. I think early on, we're going to see Youssef Zalal circling the cage, running a lot, doing a lot of sticking and moving. But if he tries to go for takedowns, he's going to regret it because Aljamain Sterling is the better wrestler. He's the better wrestler, the better grappler, the better submission artist. And Aljamain Sterling's been doing this for a long time. A lot of people think, oh, he's not hungry anymore. He's not, you know, he doesn't want this anymore. He's number 4 in the world. He's number 4 in the world. If he beats Youssef Zalal, he's like one fight away from fighting for the belt. He still has championship opportunities. He still has championship hopes to be a double champ, to be a featherweight champ, and I think he can do it. So give me Aljamain Sterling. There's too much hate on Sterling all the time. I know he's had some bad moments in his career, but he's beat a lot of guys. He's one of the best bantamweights of all time. Now at featherweight, he looks big, he looks physical, and he's got really, really good wrestling. So I'm going to go with Aljamain Sterling. Out wrestles, out grapples Youssef Zalal. Maybe he subs him, but I'm going to go Aljamain Sterling by decision, 49-46. Youssef wins early, but Aljamain just takes over as the rounds go on. He's got better 5-round cardio. He's fought the way better competition, and he's way more tested. So I'm going to go with Aljamain Sterling by decision, maybe a submission in this one as the quick pick. Those are all my quick picks for UFC Fight Night, Sterling versus Zalal, UFC Vegas 116, I think it is. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop it down in the comments who you guys are picking in this main event, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you.